Oh, I think we're ready to open this up to the floor. So if we can get the roving mics again and get some hands up for questions, jumping out of his seat already. So if we can get a mic over there, down in the front here. Okay, here it comes. And then others get ready to, raise your hands and your questions come in. Can I please remind you, though, to keep your questions, comments to under a minute, please? Thanks.
No problem. I think I can manage. Hello? Yeah. My name is Najim. I'm working for the Bertelsmann Foundation based in Germany. And as someone who was born in Morocco and raised in Germany, I'm really thrilled by the prospect of the GFMD co-chairmanship in Germany and Morocco the next 2 years. And I'm really happy to learn that there is a promising program already regarding the government days. And looking back to the last 2 GFMDs I was happy to attend, I have the feeling that we have a strong expertise and really impressive energy here towards the question of human rights of migrants. And this needs to go on, and this is indispensable in my view. But a brief view on the global big picture of migration reveals to me that the question is also about the level of qualifications and skills. I think you don't have to invest very much energy to convince receiving countries about high-skilled migrants. I think they are very happy to receive them. The question is about lower-skilled migrants, where the thing becomes more delicate. So for me personally, it is high time to think about how to transform, lower-skilled migration into high-skilled migration, so that this can open up legal pathways for migration. And there is one very visionary idea developed by Michael Clemens from the Center of Global Development in Washington, the so-called Global Skills Partnerships, that foresees in essence, just in elevator talk, that you need a transnational cooperation between countries of origin and countries of destination already in developing the skills. So targeted investments in the vocational systems of countries of origin in order to serve both the skills needs in countries of origin as well as in countries of destination. I think there is a huge potential, and my foundation is already testing the feasibility of such an endeavor in Morocco and the Philippines. And I'm happy to learn that such questions will be part of the government days in Germany. But from my view, it's high time that also civil society engages in this debate. As we only have 6 months to go now, I think it's really high time for action. And I would like to come up with a concrete suggestion here. And there is an open space indicated in the program. And I'm happy to meet people who are interested in this topic so that we can prepare ourselves for this debate in the framework of the civil society days, because we learned only about the government days so far, and this goes also to the organizers and the architects of the civil society days. Human rights are indispensable, and there needs to be defended, I think, eternally, perpetually. But it's also high time for us to include the skills development aspect to these debates. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Others? Really? Are we really that tired? Yeah, we have a hand over here. Mike there. Yeah.
Naila representing here with us. There was a very powerful discussion in the global supply chain and also the migrant in crisis and forced displacement issue. I would like to underline the importance of having a follow-up discussion in the next GFMD. There are lots of outcomes that has come up with very interesting.
Good, okay. Some things we can come back and answer. Was there somebody with another hand right there? Oh no, back here. We're so tired, our hands can't even stay up anymore. Yeah, okay.
Thank you. I'm Willy from Solidarity Center Indonesia office. This is my first time to participate in the GFMD, and it's impressive to see and to hear the experiences of people from all over the globe. And we discussed, debate a lot of things about our fellow migrant workers. But yeah, among the hectic agenda or programs, I think we should also allocate a few moments, at least to reflect together, or to think of, how to reflect and to remember our fellow migrant workers who are now being oppressed, or who are working hard in their workplaces. So that it is not only the chance for us to be here and to discuss about them, but also to reflect and to think of them, maybe in the form of, I do not know, prayers together or whatever kind that we could make in the end of the program. Thank you.
Good point. Yeah, to keep migrants in our consciousness all the time. Okay, Ellen Sana.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Ellen Sana from the Center for Migrant Advocacy. We are a migrant NGO in the Philippines. In our session on the recruitment reform, and the session facilitated by Ignacio, and then yesterday and in the morning's session on SDG and the role of GFMD, first on the session of Ignacio, our request in terms of for the body here is that in relation to the Global Compact is that minimum that we go through this inclusive regional processes. And then at the national level, it would be well and good if that can be also supported, but we'll try to work our way, at least at the national and the local. But we want to have that commitment, at least from the development agencies present in this forum, to ensure that there is this inclusive regional consultations happening, hopefully before the GFMD 2017. So at least concretely, we are looking at the Global Compact all the way to 2018, and this is something very concrete to work on. But that said, I think that it's not a matter of let's go forward for the Global Compact, because prior to that, we have been discussing the SDG. And prior to that, we have been discussing the 8 points, 5 years. And we should not be moving forward and leaving all these things behind, because this is something that we very much take ownership of, not only the inputs, but the processes. So in the morning's discussion on the SDG and the role of GFMD, we are inspired that there is indeed a role for GFMD, because we have been saying informal, non-binding, voluntary forum of governments on migration. So with the SDG, we are trying to have a role for the GFMD. The proposal this morning was to come up with probably some reporting or monitoring mechanism. Of course, it emanates from the national governments, but hopefully, for example, in the Philippines, where we have no problem working with the particular agencies of government, especially those involved in migration on the SDG, then we can do it together. But it doesn't stop us from making parallel reporting as well. But this is just to keep the process moving. So we don't just discuss what it's all about and then we move on to the next topic. And of course, for us, civil society, it's important to always remind ourselves that we are not doing these things just because they started to do the SDG and the Global Compact. This is a challenge for us that all those advocacies we have been working on should be able to find ways to use these platforms, SDGs and Global Compact and the GFMD, to make sure that we are making progress in the process. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Yeah, I see Michelle Klein-Solomon's hand jump up, maybe in response to that, and then we'll jump to Shakira. So Michelle, first over here, if you can pass the mic down over there.
Thank you very much, Colin, and I did want to respond specifically to Ellen and Ray, Michelle from IOM. I think, Berenice, you raised it as well in your comments, that beyond exchanging across regions from civil society about good practices, need to create common voice and advocacy. And I'm so glad, Ellen, you said what you just said about utilizing the 5-year, 8-point plan and not losing sight of that, but building on that to create a common civil society voice heading into the compact. And what I would really encourage is, because I do believe the voices are stronger when they're unified. They're much stronger when they're unified. And to use this kind of a platform and the global civil society movement to build depth on those 8 points to bring forward into the compact in the regional consultations, in the thematic consultations, and linking very much to the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda. You're absolutely right that these global gatherings are marking points in our work together, but they're not the beginning and they're not the end. And the work has to continue regardless of those, but these can be important milestones, important markers that can help regenerate energy and move forward. So I'd really encourage the panelists to respond to what Ellen just said and think about, and what Berenice said, to think about how you can continue to deepen the collective voice to be relevant and influence the discussion. And we're very happy as IOM at all levels to help provide you that voice, working obviously in partnership with the others. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, definitely it's a long-term vision.
Thank you very much. I'm Shakirul and I'm representing a migrant or workers organization based in Bangladesh. Yes, it was very rich and insightful discussions on rights, global governance of migration, protection, justice, and all these things. And I believe that, yes, we will have a good set of recommendations. But if we look at the banner behind the dais, it's time for action. So my question is, what is our action forward? It is like that our discussions and deliberations, recommendations will bring forth to the global compact only, or should we have any mechanism or the strategy that the discussions we discussed here can bring back to the lives of the migrant workers? Because when we are talking about all these protection rights and justice here in this global conference, number of migrants are detained, number of migrants are facing different kinds of problems and difficulties in their day-to-day life. So my question is, whether should we only go for the global compact like something, or do we have any mechanism that we can bring down the right moment? Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to make a change. Has to make a change in our daily lives. Over here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, the thing is, I can see the co-chair for the 10th GFMD and the representative from the German civil society, and I thought it's really a unique opportunity to kindly request. Maybe I should just briefly give an idea. I am one of the 6 youth delegates representing this, participating in this 9th GFMD in Dhaka. And I'm from Bangladesh. I spent last 2 years and still I'm living in Germany. So I thought it's quite a unique opportunity to request you, to have an inclusive, to have a clear, precise, and ambitious inclusion of youth perspective in the 10th GFMD that's going to take place in Germany. And given the fact that a huge number of migration and Germany in a way kind of an epicenter of this huge international migration and this huge youth mobility that's happening over there, I thought it's kind of really once I mean, it's a big opportunity really to come up with something very concrete and holistic on behalf of the youth. And I would like to request you to think on that and really make it happen for all of us on behalf of this huge youth on the move. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think we made some good advancement there, and maybe we can kind of incorporate it into next year's GFMD civil society space as well as the government days. Just back a little bit. Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Dominic from Copen in Malta. We're a member of the Destination Unknown campaign about the rights of children on the move. This morning in the newspaper here, I read that slum children here, slum-dwelling children, are working 64 hours per week. Many of them in the garment industry. I'd like to reinforce what the lady said from Education International. Education is pivotal. It's absolutely crucial for our work, and it's paramount. One, for children, for young people, and also in adult education who are on the move. But secondly, also for educating those that directly or indirectly are contributing to social injustices at a global level. We need to make people in the Western world understand that if they buy a t-shirt for €3 and then throw it away and a week later they buy another one, that is a direct impact on these kids here in Bangladesh. And this can be done through awareness raising, but it's much stronger through education. So I just would like to reinforce what you had said before. Thank you.
So a reinforcement on education. We'll take one last one back here. The gentleman over here. Oh, right there. Put up your hand, sir. There you go. And then...
Thank you. Very quick question. This is the 9th GFMD. Now, my question is, isn't it the time to hold GFMD in the Middle East, where majority of migrant workers not only don't have the very basic rights, but they don't have the means to defend their rights. They don't have trade union. There is no strong civil society to coordinate with the trade union, where the trade unionism is very limited in only few states of in the GCC or in the Middle East in general. Okay, that's all.
Thanks, and maybe so that's a question that can be. You can bring the mic back, please. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Yeah, so maybe that's a question that you can actually specifically address to your governments in terms of they need to offer up to host it. So that would be a good point. So last question from Kadi.
Thank you, Colin. Yeah, French. Ok, merci. La question que je voulais soulever, c'est vrai qu'on a parlé du temps de l'action, time for action. Et je trouve que à partir de ce forum, 6 mois après, est-ce qu'on a le temps vraiment de faire une réelle mise en œuvre ou bien avoir des résultats avant le prochain forum d'Allemagne? La deuxième question, c'est on parle de gouvernance mondiale inclusive des migrations. Et je pense qu'il y a des partenaires de cette coalition pour la bonne gouvernance des migrants qui ne sont pas là, que sont les institutions sous-régionales africaines, la CEDEAO, l'Union africaine et beaucoup d'autres partenaires comme des chefs d'État engagés qu'il faut impliquer. Mais souvent, ils sont là que, voilà, et ils ne viennent même pas si on les implique. Donc, je pense que la question essentielle, c'est aussi les partenariats. Et la dernière question que je voulais poser, et c'est plus, ça s'adresse à l'Allemagne, la question des visas. La question des visas, on va faire un autre Global Forum. Et il faut aujourd'hui que les organisations de la société civile du Sud, on l'a d'ailleurs souligné hier, des organisations africaines, asiatiques, autres, qui veulent venir à ce forum pour échanger, pour essayer de trouver des solutions, puissent avoir le droit d'entrer en Europe, parce qu'elle ne s'arrête pas seulement en Allemagne, même si vous avez une ouverture. Quelles sont les politiques qu'il faut mettre aujourd'hui pour que dans ces forums-là, qu'on n'ait pas de difficultés aujourd'hui pour la mobilité, parce que tout est mobilité, mais en commençant par les acteurs qui veulent changer le monde aujourd'hui. Donc c'est cette question que je voulais ajouter.
Thank you, Kadi. Yes, very, very important. So we look forward to that in terms of how we engage the next 2 years. So I've got the dreaded note from Wismas we must wrap up, and we're very late. So maybe we'll give a chance now back to the panelists, and maybe Gopal, we'll start from you and come back down the line. Your final comments, if you can answer some of these questions, hopefully some of you have been taking notes. But
thank you, Colin. I think almost all interventions were not in the form of questions; they were rather observations and their own experience. Just to start with very quickly, in a few seconds, Nazim was asking for skill and qualification development. In fact, it's important, but together with that, I think we need to keep the house order first in order to demonstrate our ability and our performance and our commitment. For example, we need to ratify some of the conventions. So we need to have legal framework within our own country, because the same sending country can also be a receiving country in that point of time. There are examples. So I think that's a very valid point. From Solidarity Center, nothing about us without us. Beautiful. It should be a consultative process, and the migrants should be at the center stage at all times, at all the times. I think I just want to reiterate and reinforce that. Yes, our colleague from the Philippines was asking about some sort of reporting mechanisms in order to operationalize somehow the compact's provisions is highly important. Otherwise, it becomes something like a SARC convention on trafficking, for example, which is there since 2002, but the operationalization part is very much stagnant. Right. And common voice with diverse constituency, as Michelle said. Michelle was just reinforcing about common voice. And so for us, we've been exploring all our constituency members, to work together and to set a common standard benchmarks for common minimum agenda. So that is what this is in our pipeline. Evan and myself and our colleagues were discussing about, mobilizing our own constituencies, to build up our better concepts of clarity on post-migration issues, particularly on the two compacts, the interlinkages between the two compacts. And yes, circle role, building synergy, mobilizing media, also important, because the media should highlight both sunny side and the wood side of the migration. And so we should be working more vigorously on these issues. Thank you for raising this. And yes, about youth, for the first time, during the biannual convention of Asia Pacific Refugee Rights Network, which was held a couple of months back in Bangkok, youth has been chosen as one of the 6 themes. So bravo, youth. So youth will be in our center, in the coming days. It's a new thing, but it's a very vital theme. So we'll be working on the issue of youth and refugees very much. All right, thank you for raising this. And
you don't have to answer all of them.
I think that's done. I think on my part. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Gopal, please. Samira.
National are really interested in GFMD and migration issues. And this has been the case, at least for the last 25 years. In the UK, when we had a shortage of teachers in the late 1990s, we were sending groups of head teachers and principals to mainly Commonwealth countries. We were sending them to Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, South Africa, and the Caribbean. And what transpired as a result of that was that as a union, we were getting casework of migrant teachers on our shores, in our streets, who had been made destitute because the recruitment agencies had lied to them. The recruitment agencies had treated them so badly that we ended up with lots of casework, which meant that we had to think about a policy on migrant teachers. And not many of you might be aware, but we did a lot of campaigning within the National Union of Teachers on developing a protocol for the recruitment of teachers. There is in existence, signed in 2004 by Commonwealth Education Ministers, a Commonwealth Teacher Recruitment Protocol. And that is a model that is also being looked at by the African Union. So there, And similarly, there is also a Commonwealth nurses recruitment protocol. So I think in the debates that we are having in GFMD, we should also look at other examples of where other work has been done and not reinvent the wheel. At the same time, because this is a global phenomena, so it's not only that there has been migration from the global south to the global north, we are also seeing now south-south migration of teachers, particularly on the African continent. And therefore, Education International established a task force on teacher migration, which looked at issues of teacher migration globally. And one of the things that the Education International has done is that it has created a portal which is on migration of teachers, and which is now being expanded to look at refugee education and other matters. So what the protocol does is that it outlines for teachers who are migrating what their rights are, what their responsibilities are, and what information they need about the destination countries and what they should expect in terms of the realization of their rights. So I think the point of this long-winded kind of response at the end is that there are examples of good practice and things that have been happening that we should actually look into those in the processes leading up to the Global Compact and not try and reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, very good point. Thanks, Amita. Berenice.
Okay, yo quisiera decir dos cosas. Uno, creo que podemos llevarnos cosas muy concretas de aquí que salieron de este foro mundial. Por ejemplo, específicamente en el side event sobre retorno y readmisión, ¿no? Hay ya una red ahí, hay algo importante. Les aseguramos que desde la región, ante las políticas que está habiendo en Estados Unidos, ante la elección del nuevo presidente, vamos a tener mucha acción. Estamos articulándonos ya transnacionalmente y participar desde el Foro Mundial y vincularlo con este side event sobre readmisión va a ser muy importante. Y la otra cosa es retomar la cuestión de consultas regionales para el Foro Mundial, pero también poder llevar a quienes están liderando el Global Compact a los países, ¿no? En el marco de los mecanismos regionales. Sería muy bueno, va a haber espacios de mecanismos regionales, entonces ¿por qué no llevar ahí las conversaciones globales y también en lo local? Sería muy bueno empezar el Foro Mundial en Alemania con un seguimiento de cuáles fueron las acciones que pudimos implementar o dar seguimiento de este foro, y sobre todo ante las adversidades que hay, no solamente en América, sino en Europa y en todas las regiones. La perspectiva de género. Llevar el lente de género en todos los espacios y en todas las mesas para analizar las discriminaciones desde una visión intersectorial.
Gracias, Berenice. Sofía.
Yeah, I would also like to take up a few comments from the plenary. I think the one that you mentioned to also engage with the regional agencies and partners. I think, as we know, like especially in Germany, we are aware that the regional or that migration governance is also a European issue, a European Union's issue. And there is a lot of engagement between the European Union and the African Union, or the European Union and certain African states. I mean, our African friends have already mentioned the Valletta process and stuff. So I think it's important that to bring these kind of discussions also at the GFMD, and to link the discussions of the global governance with the regional governance more effectively, and like with the rights-based approach that we follow here. So this is to echo also the questions on visa and mobility transcontinental. The second point I would like to take up is youth. I perfectly agree, and I'm sure I can hold Venro accountable personally to include youth in the next GFMD, but I would also like to say that I guess these processes that are kicked off now for the German civil society on migration and development, this is also a chance not only up till June and not only up to the next GFMD taking place in Morocco, as you are co-chairing this, but also beyond. I had the opportunity to attend a side event yesterday with representatives from Switzerland and Bangladesh, and I felt it's actually very encouraging for national civil society movement, but also regional and globally, if you establish national platforms where you can discuss during the year those issues that will be brought back here to the GFMD, because this really nourishes the discussions. So I felt very eager to follow this. And the third point I'd like to raise is that regarding action, I think we have mapped in the last couple of days a lot of processes going on where monitoring regarding the SDG agenda, for instance, is happening. We have explicitly mentioned the Universal Periodic Review, where states are also compelled to show their human rights progress. And I think we can use the GFMD also as a moment to monitor explicitly the advancement that have been made on migration and development and human rights, and extract them from the various processes. I think this would be a good opportunity also for making the GFMD, making it an issue that's helping for more accountability in the global migration regime. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophia. And again, we're looking forward to it. Milka?
Thank you very much. In my concluding remarks, first of all, I want to thank the government of Bangladesh for the great team, and also the civil society days, for those who organized this. This has been beautiful. It has been a rich discussions. But just as we were opening up, I remember the Foreign Secretary said something that caught my ear. And he said the migration issue is actually quite explosive. And I thought about it, in my work, personally, I'm a nurse. What is this that can be very explosive in my profession that actually can make us be very, very careful in dealing with it? And I thought, well, I'm also a woman giving birth. That would be the most explosive things. We have two things that we have two people here. We have the mother and the child. And I'm looking at it between now, probably 2018, as we're going towards the Global Compact. It's more or less like we have this woman, she's in labor, she wants to deliver. Whatever you want to do in between can either determine whether you have a live child, whether the mother dies, whether both of them die, and you have also other people around them who will take you to account for what you have done. And that's what I want to throw back to all of us here. Each one of us have a role to play, whether you be the doctor, whether you be the midwife, whether you be the significant other, the husband, whether you're going to bring the sugar to make sure that the mother goes through this process well and delivers well. If you're the midwife, if you're going to, as we say, hold the perineum well so that the baby comes out, then I remembered my teacher told me, Milka, whether you like it or not, the baby will come out. It's not unless it lies wrongly. So the Global Compact is here. It will get out. So once it gets out, we will determine how it goes. We have this length of time to determine what goes there, whether we're going to support this process, which roles each one of us are going to play at national levels. Are we going to talk to our governments? Which activities is it that we're going to push forward? Are we meeting with them, or do we just come to the Global Forum and go home and wait for next year? The German co-chair is here. They've said with the civil society, they're already ready. So for us, in our different areas, what is it that we can be able to make sure that even as we think about this compact, the delivery will be safe? That's a question to you. Thank you.
That's right. Milka will be giving a class on midwifery outside across the street at 5 o'clock. Ambassador, we're just about to close the Civil Society Days for 2016, and right after the Common Space Days tomorrow, I know we'll be turning right towards our focus for 2017 with 6 months to go. John Bingham is losing sleep already, worrying about how to get this done. But last words to you as we begin to shift our focus.
Okay. Dear friends, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Yeah? The discussion won't stop by end of June next year. We will accompany this process, 17, 18. We stay committed to the cause. So my next commitment is at 6 p.m. So I'll stay here with you to discuss in a smaller circle the intermingling between the refugee compact and the migration compact. Just to give you one point, not all states are that happy with the wording of the Geneva Convention on Refugees. So really, if we overdo it, They have a marvelous reason to say, all are refugees, so we reduce the level for all of them. So it's difficult. We can work on it, but please don't put yourself too much under pressure. We stay with you. We stay committed. That's for this point. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much, Ambassador. So we'll look forward to next year. Before we end the panel for this afternoon, I believe we have our walking instructions for what we're going to do next, and John or Weiss will be guiding us through that to our next step. So we'll turn it back to you, John.
Very good. Yeah, no, I'm just going to introduce and welcome to the front for some advice for us all for common space tomorrow in the opening ceremony of the government days tomorrow morning. I'm happy to welcome to the front one of the Bangladesh superstars in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Riaz Hamadullah, who we all remember because he was that groovy guy last night serving as master of ceremonies in that fine party. So Riaz, if you could take us through some of the advice for what to do tomorrow morning, that would be great.